expectations of where the market is going over the next 12 months. We've got some macroeconomic headwinds, and gauging how people are seeing it in the purchases that are coming into their businesses. I want to talk to people about data streams and how they're integrating the range of data streams that are available, the audience data, the media data, and importantly, in the changing world, the creative intelligence data, the signals that are coming from the AI-facilitated creative that are two-way back into how people need to structure campaigns and measure value and optimize campaigns. But those are the areas. I'm also interested in commerce, because ultimately we all work on actually something being sold at the end of the chain. And the growth of marketplaces and commerce and transactions is really important to the industry, because that's proof of value to investors and it's a proof of utility to consumers. Privacy and cookie deprecation as part of it was one of the concerns. We were still looking at alternate IDs. The agenda around privacy still needs to evolve. Those fundamental, almost human rights around privacy, that consumers have a right to know who's got their data, for what purpose, and how long it's going to be held, are still not imprinted through the industry in any of the solutions, and many of the solutions that are around in the market. So we still have some way to go. At least we have certainty that cookies aren't going away, but they're effectively retired and redundant. But alternative solutions are coming together, and everything from clean rooms and privacy enhancing technologies, right the way through to audience segments that are more meaningful and more transactionally driven, but not necessarily personal. They're becoming more important to the industry. The thing that people need to remember is that AI solutions a lot of them are going to end up being very similar. The thing that's going to make the difference is the data that sits behind them. That's the sustainable competitive difference in AI. And so as you build an AI solution, if you're not building it on data that you know to be defensible and unique, whether that's derived from other activity or it is your own proprietary data, your AI solution is not necessarily going to give a sustainable advantage. The great benefit is that by building solutions, you can create derivative data that then starts to become a competitive advantage. But a lot of people believing that developing AI solutions is going to give them some defensible moat. No, data gives you the defensible moat. Solutions gives you the implementation of that data into executional use cases better. It would be very simplistic to say first-party data is still really important. It is really important. Intent signals that are closely tied to a behavior that has a defined outcome are really valuable. Transactional data. People want to do things, but do they actually do things? Transactions are the real proof that money is being made. Transactional data is really valuable. So if you can tie transactional data, first-party data, and elements of intent data together, you have a circle of benefit that drives real returns. That will always, in investment terms, deliver a higher multiple than a behavioral indicator. So that's our perspective as to where data needs to go. I think the pay or okay concepts that we have in Europe, where you're given by legislation that's designed to give advantages to publishers who aren't of massive global scale, is a great benefit. And at the moment, it's being abused by many players. The fact that you either pay for content, or you have to consent to sometimes 1,300, 1,500 ad tech vendors and suppliers getting your data. That's an abuse of the privilege that was given by regulation. I think the sooner that the publisher side wakes up and realizes they have a golden goose here, don't kill the egg that it's about to produce for them. And they know that 80% of those 1,300 odd vendors aren't delivering value. Why don't they actually just buckle down and have a better deal with the consumer and say, yeah, okay, this is what you're going to get, this is what we're going to get, and there's a fair exchange. It comes back to the you keep trust with consumers when you give them a fair and honest exchange for their information. That's currently still not in place in many circumstances. Creative intelligence is the bit that's going to change the whole landscape for everyone. It is bringing creative and media back together in a way that it hasn't been together in the advertising ecosystem for 30 years. It brings that element of money that's spent in client budgets that's traditionally called non-working budget, the money spent on creative, and it makes it working because it's putting data into creative and creative optimization. That's the bit that's not got enough noise around it yet, but it will do over the next 12 months. That's the horse I'm backing.